G'day folks and welcome to this playthrough of Atlantic Chase. What you see here is the full battle board. It's a scenario BL1 from it's a first scenario, blockade scenario from the Solitaire Scenarios booklet. This is called Raiders of the North Atlantic, and it explains how in September 1939, Grand Admiral Raeder intends to interfere with British merchant traffic in the Atlantic. Before war was declared, ships were already sent beyond the North Sea to take up positions, and these are the RV markers that we see. And now he has ordered raiders to slip through the developing blockade to harass British supply lines. Our objective is to score hits on British convoys. Under no circumstances, however, are you to lose a German vessel. Your ships may complete in Wilhelmshaven, Kiel, or Murmansk. Rendezvous may change your objective. So we've set up for this scenario. The weather is good. You can see this weather marker over here. The Germans have the initiative, and we play the Germans here against these British convoys. Our enemy are British and French task forces, which are set up at start. You can see their trajectories. I can tell you there's a convoy here and a convoy here. That's all we have set up for the British. This northern one is going from Halifax to Clyde, Liverpool. This southern one is coming from Africa to Portsmouth here. We have, as I've pointed out, 3 RV markers. So the rendezvous markers have no effect on play except when a German task force station is in a hex with one of them. When you have initiative and a German task force is in a hex with a marker, make a fueling check. We roll a die and check this fueling table. Okay. The scenario ends when there are 2 or fewer rendezvous markers remaining and the Germans have no task force in play. It may also end as a result of the British action table. Now, I've got a special action here. When I have the initiative, I can attach an intel marker to a British trajectory segment. I can do this one time. I can do this at any time, but only once during the scenario. Now, what do I have? I have got the graph. I've got a station here, which contains the Lutzow, and I have a station over in Wilhelmshaven, which contains the Widder. I also have the Graf Spee as a reinforcement in Kiel. Okay. And to bring that out, I need to do a reorganize action. It is 2 hits to destroy a British convoy. Convoys do not disperse. Oh, by the way, this starts off in any hex adjacent to an RV marker. I've placed it here with a view to targeting this southern convoy route. So I'm going to try to intercept here and take out that convoy. Okay. There's a table of fueling results, then there's a table of British actions. I'll get to that, well, I'll cover that when it arises. For now though, I have the initiative. I have 2 task forces. Here is my summary of actions. I need to come out and find these convoys. How do I do that? Well, first thing I need to do is set a course or set a trajectory. And again, as I've said previously, this is not the best strategy. I am kind of learning as I go. I feel like I've got the rules mostly down pat. Please be aware of rules errors which I may make. This is the first full scenario I've played. The next step is to understand strategy. And what I'm thinking here is the sooner I intercept this convoy route, the more opportunity I have to destroy them before they reach Portsmouth. But I'm also mindful that I kind of eventually want to shift back up and address this northern route. So what I'm thinking is rather than coming straight down here, I might actually plot a course for along here and with a view that it's things not going well, I can reshift to the north, or if I destroy it quickly, I can shift to the north. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So my first action is trajectory. And I can place up to 15 sections. I could set a long course if I want. This station no longer exists in this place. It is somewhere along this route. We don't exactly know where. Often this action triggers enemy placement of intel. If I place this in a space with enemy mines, submarines, air bases, ports, or stations, but it's not the case right now. So no intel marker is placed, and I retain the initiative. There's no risk of initiative change with this action. Now, however, I have one of my task forces in the same hex as an enemy task force segment. I have one of my segments is in the same hex as an enemy task force segment, which means that I can attempt to basically search for them with a view to converting them to a station. I'm trying to search somewhere along this path, specifically this location, to see if they are a station, to see if this is where they are. To do so, I do the naval search action. I designate my active task force, which is these guys here, and I designate the target task force, which is this one along here. Now, they have a very long trajectory. What we do here is we add up the trajectory total, which is my trajectory size of 3 versus their trajectory size of 8 for a total of 11. So it could be a difficult search. What I'm trying to do is reduce the size of their trajectory, narrow them down to where I'd like them to be in here. There is an opportunity here after I've calculated the trajectory for the enemy to interrupt if I have an intel marker attached. Again, I don't have an intel marker attached, so there's no risk there. We do apply other common modifiers. It's good weather, but I don't have any nearby. Oh, I do actually. An airbase here. German airbase within range of 2. So air support, the way this works is active player, proximity, it is 2 hexes away, 1, 2. So I get a +1 modifier for my air support. So I've got air support in good weather helping me to find where these ships, where this convoy is along this trajectory. There's no contact marker, no evasive maneuvers, and no coordination taking place. So I get a +1 modifier to my naval search roll. Again, trajectory total is 11, so we're looking at this column. A +1 modifier to a die roll of 3, which is terrible, which is a net of 4 or less, gives us this result. It's hard to read that, but what this means is early or late. Remove the target trajectory segment from the space. If this creates a hole in the target trajectories, so I remove the target trajectories segment from the space, it now creates a hole in their trajectory, which can't exist. So select a line of segments to one side or the other of that hole and remove those segments. I want to keep this segment because it's this sort of line because it's further away from Portsmouth. So I'm going to remove, it's also a smaller section, so I'm going to remove all these trajectory segments north of that line. I now know, after my naval search, that they haven't reached this point yet. They are somewhere here. They don't have an evasive maneuvers marker. The target trajectory, if no hole is created, no. Okay. That's the end of my naval search action. Okay, so I've kind of didn't succeed in the search, didn't find them, but I was able to reduce their area of possibility. At the end of that, we do a time lapse. Time lapse is basically where time passes according to, and I basically remove trajectory segments from my trajectory equal to, corresponding to the weather. So in good weather, I check my speed. I can tell you that the Lutzow is medium, so I have to remove 3 sections, 1, 2, 3. We are converted back into a station in one of those hexes. So I'm just going to put it here very close to this British route. The British now have an opportunity to seize the initiative. And I'm just going to check if there's any special rules here. I think they would attempt to seize the initiative normally. Some scenarios may dictate that instead of seizing the initiative, they will instead take an evasive manoeuvres marker, but I don't think that's the case for this scenario. So I think the British want to attempt to seize the initiative. To do so, they basically roll 2 dice and they need 9 or more. In fact, let me check the rules. Let me check the broader scenario rules. I think I read about it somewhere. Evasive manoeuvres. When they have an opportunity, here we go. When they have an opportunity to choose between seizing the initiative or taking evasive manoeuvres, roll a die. On a roll of 1, they will attempt to seize the initiative. So they roll a 12, so they seize the initiative. Okay, it's now the British turn, and they are going to roll on the British action table. I'll show you this in a moment. So basically, when the British have the initiative, we use this table to determine what they do. Here is the table. And we basically roll number of successful British convoy completion actions and or destroyed convoys. Well, it's 0 at the start. A result of 4 is a B, a blockade action. Oh, we create a new British task force. Place, oh wow, okay. Create a new British task force way up here. Place 3 cruisers in it. Oh, okay. So these are the ships that'll go in that task force. They're represented by this marker way up here, and they go off map in the British task force display, just off to the left of camera, off here. Then roll on the action table again. Okay, I don't want to get another B result, that's terrible. A 2, which is an A action, which is an airstrike. If the weather is bad, no, it's not. If the weather is good, perform an airstrike targeting a German task force in range of a British or French airbase. Well, they're both in range, but this is closer and has a better modifier for them. So they're going to target this task force, which contains the Vidder. Okay. So the target will give the British the most favourable air support modifier, which is this one. That's what I've done. Okay, so they're going to do an airstrike action against my ship, my task force. We indicate this by showing where they're launching from and where they're launching to. So they're launching from here or here, doesn't really matter, same modifier, striking here. They don't have a coordinating task force in that hex. They don't have intel attached, so there's no chance of interruption. They simply make an airstrike attempt, and the trajectory, they know exactly where I am. My trajectory is 0. So with a coordinating task force, they'd subtract that coordinating task force from the trajectory total. In this case, it's 0 anyway, so they're using a very favourable column. They are rolling 2 dice, and because it's an adjacent hex, so air support, an adjacent hex, active player, a +2 modifier. No other modifiers apply. So +2, an 8 + 2 is 10. Okay, we have this result here, which is a contact marker. Let me find my, here we are, contact has been made with that German force, and that is simply a hit A ship in the target's task force is hit. Unfortunately for us, wow, the Widder only has one hit. So I think it's destroyed. Under no circumstances am I to lose a German vessel. Wow, I've lost a German vessel very quickly. Are you kidding me? Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Yep, that task force is destroyed, sunk by an airstrike. Okay, maybe I should have, before I did my lesson learned, before I did my naval search here, maybe I should have plotted 2 trajectories so they're not sitting out there in the North Sea as a primary target where the British know exactly where they were. Lesson learned. All right, I'll apply that in future. That was a British airstrike. We do a time lapse. It was an airstrike, so nothing to worry about there. We vie for initiative. When we vie for initiative, both players roll a die. The Germans have the high result, so they grab the initiative, and it's my go. Okay, a bit of trouble here. Okay, I'm going to return to this southern convoy, and I'm going to plot a trajectory. Again, trying to find them. No intel markers in play. That's the end of my trajectory action. Oh, I have forgotten. When initiative changes, so when it first changed to the British, we roll for weather, no change. Now it changes back to me, no change, so the weather is still good. I, again, am going to conduct a naval search action, trying to find them. This time, we've cut back their trajectory. My trajectory is smaller as well. A total size of 5 here. So we're looking at a naval search 5 to 9 column. We have no modifiers because we're now out of range here. So we're looking at the 5 column, looking for a good result. A 4, hey, it is terrible again. All right, so remove the target's segment from the space. It doesn't create a hole. If no hole is created, the target trajectory earns an evasive maneuvers result. That's great. Things are not going well. So this trajectory now has evasive maneuvers. I can put it on their task force, but I'll just keep it here as a more visual reminder. Oh no. Okay. At the end of my naval search, time lapse, again reducing this to a station closer to this convoy, and the British will attempt to we'll roll one. Well, they can't take more than one evasive maneuver, so they'll try to seize the initiative. 7. 7. They need 9 or more. Okay, seize initiative marker is a +1 modifier, so even if they spend that, it's not enough. I think they try to spend it as soon as, so they try to spend it as soon as possible. It's only a +1 modifier in good weather, so they don't seize the initiative. They instead get a +1 modifier the next time an initiative roll is made. I keep the initiative then, and again, I'm going to plot a course, trying to find these guys. Plot a course, set a trajectory towards their location. They're here somewhere. Yeah, I'm going to form another naval search. I can't keep rolling low, surely. Trajectory size is 4. They could spend that. In fact, they will spend that because they want to spend it at the earliest opportunity. They'll spend their evasive maneuvers marker to apply a -1 modifier to my roll. So size is now 4. So I'm on the lowest column. I will make contact this time, but it's a -1 to my die roll. And I roll a 7, modified to a 6 is contact. We've made contact and we've sighted them. We remove their trajectory segments and place their task force station. There we go. We know where they are with a contact marker. Okay, so we made contact and sighted. We've finally seen where this convoy is. We're at the end of our naval search. We do time lapse, so we are in the same hex with them. We've found them. We've sailed to their location. Here they are, just off Gibraltar. And at the end of that, we vie for initiative. No, my apologies. They attempt to seize initiative. Vie is where both players roll a die. Seize is where they roll 2 dice. Now, of course, before they seize initiative, they'll roll to see if they take an evasive maneuvers marker. They don't. They will attempt to seize initiative with a +1 modifier. A 5 +1 won't do it. That pushes up. They now have a +2 modifier on their next die roll. I keep the initiative, however, and now I know where they are. I am in the same location as them. We have made contact. I am going to attempt to engage this convoy. I have my active, just to kind of point this all out, I have my active task force. Where are the German markers? I cannot find them, but I can tell you. Yep, I've lost the German markers. Don't know where they are. Anyway, active task force, target task force, trajectory size of 0. The contact marker adds a modifier based on the speed, and I can tell you that this convoy is very slow, so it adds a +4 modifier to my die roll. I'm out of range of my air support, but the British can call on air support from Gibraltar here into an adjacent area, so the target player adjacent hex, that's a -1 modifier. So +4 -1 is a +3. There's no evasive maneuvers, no coordination. So we're looking at a +3 modifier to my engage action using the 0 column. And I'm trying to force a battle here to sink them. So +3 to a roll of 8 is 11. Surprise. Okay. Surprise. A battle is triggered if the active task force is faster than the target. My ships are set up in their far zone, while the target ships are set up in the target player's near or far zones. Okay, so here's the convoy and here's the battle board over here, so that I can set them up. So I caught them by surprise. Here's the Lutzow in the far zone. Target ships are set up by the active player in the target player's near and or far zones. Active player ships fire first in round 1, no smoke at setup. So I kind of get the jump on this convoy. All right, we've got a battle. So the way battle works is we move the ships over here, we determine how many combat rounds there are by these markers here. It's good weather. So we have, I believe, 3 rounds of combat. In bad weather, I think it's only 2 rounds. 3 rounds in good weather, 2 in bad. Okay, so players normally perform gunnery simultaneously, followed by torpedo attacks. This is a surprise round though, so I'll shoot first before they can counter. So there are 4 different range types. There's extreme range, long range, I think this is short range, and then point blank range. So we're at long range, which means we apply, so you see these two numbers in the upper right hand corner, it's a 2 and a 1 if you can't see that. The 2 is for short and point blank. The second number, 1, is for long range and extreme. The only difference between long range and extreme is with extreme, you roll 3 dice and pick the worst 2. For long range, I roll 2 dice and that's my roll. And then I add the 1 as a modifier to that roll. So as I get to attack first, I'm looking at the gunnery table here. I am at long range, so I'm rolling 2 dice. And I add my gunnery modifier. That's a 6, 7, 8. What other modifiers are there? The target is very slow, so I think I add +2 as well. So 7, 8. This is interesting. I see it on the table here, but I don't remember reading about that. As indicated by the modifiers. Yeah, okay. So target is very slow. So it's 7, 8 for their gunnery modifier, 9, 10. On the gunnery table is a hit. We take a hit marker and we apply it to that convoy. That's almost 1 round. We do a torpedo step where torpedo capable ships in the close zone may attack targets. Maneuver step, ships may move to an adjacent zone. Slowest ships first. Let's figure out what's the battle. So the AI is driven by battle behavior scenario. You can see on the left-hand side here. British. If the imaginary player is British, undamaged ships will move closer. Convoys and damaged ships move to the far zone. So slow ships first, they're going to try and move further away. I now have a choice because I'm slightly faster than them and I'm going to move a little bit closer. That keeps me at long range rather than extreme. It means that I take the result of 2 dice rather than 3 and picking the worst 2. So I'm chasing them. Breakaway step. So during the breakaway step, ships can attempt to break away. If the imaginary player is British, it will attempt to break away if there's a convoy or damaged ship. It has both. It's a damaged convoy. The way breakaway works, and I have to just point out how brilliant this rulebook is. It's very easy to find all these things. They need to roll a 9 on 2 dice. +2 if all their ships in the far zone. -1 if they have the slowest ship. -1 if 1 or more of the opponent's ships are in the near or close zones. So they get a +2 for being far, but a -1 for being slowest, and -1 for me being in the near. So they need a net modifier of 0. They need a 9 or more. They fail. So another round of combat begins. This time though, they're going to shoot back. Combat will be basically simultaneous. Okay, we start the sequence of play with the gunnery step. But I say they shoot back, but they don't have any long range guns. See the NA in the top right corner, if you can see that? Long range, not applicable, so they won't shoot me at all. Instead, I get a free shot on them. A 4, it's not gonna be good. 4, target is slow, 5, 6, plus my gun value is 7, a splash. No damage to the enemy ship, no effect. Torpedo step, no torpedoes. Oh, I'm not in the, I'm not close enough, I believe, for torpedoes. Torpedoes, during the torpedo step, players simultaneously declare and perform attacks. Yeah, you have to be very close, I think. An enemy ship in the close or near zone can be the target. They're a long way from that. Okay, maneuver step. They're far away as they can get. If I get, I don't mind this range because if I get closer, they can shoot back. Right where I am, they can't shoot at me. So I might hang around the near zone and just do long range gunnery. The breakaway step, again, they'll try to break away, needing a 9 or more. They fail. We enter another round of combat. We start with the gunnery step. Again, they can't shoot at me, but I can shoot at them. I need a 9 or more to score this second hit. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8. A narrow splash. Okay. So no effect, no torpedoes, maneuver step. I'm going to stay where I am. They can't get any further away. They will again attempt to break away, needing a 9 or more. An 11. They escape. Okay. No worries. They're still damaged though. So when they break away, all the players' ships exit and the battle ends. Return them to the force display. That's it. Battle ends. That's it. Who has initiative after a battle? Now we vie for initiative, and the British will get a +2 modifier. Yep. So they seize the initiative from me. And we return to the scenario book to determine what action they are going to take. British actions are summarised. Weather. Oh, we roll for weather. It is still good, no change. We still don't have any destroyed convoys, so we're still looking at that 0 column. And a roll of 3 is another B result. This is the second time this result has been garnered, and a British task force station is in the hex shown here. We ignore this result and treat as an X British action table result, which is a decisive action. If 2 British convoys have been completed, no, that's not the case. Select a British task force with a battle cruiser in it. They don't have one. If none are in play, select an unidentified task force. Okay. Oh, geez. Okay. So we are selecting an unidentified task force, and if none are in play, create an unidentified task force in Scarpa Flow or Gibraltar. Unidentified. That's interesting. Unidentified. Means it has no ships in its box. So there isn't one in play. So I create an unidentified task force in Scarpa Flow or Gibraltar, whichever is nearest. Unfortunately, Gibraltar is right near my task force. So it's unidentified, so we don't know what is actually in this task force. I know there are 3 cruisers in that task force, so it's identified. There are none in play, so I've created one in Gibraltar, nearest a German task force. And then the selected task force performs actions intended to bring to battle the nearest German task force. Oh, which could be bad. Okay. It performs actions. If no German task force can be targeted for a naval search or engagement, then if no German task force can be targeted. All right, so a lot of this uses kind of key language like bring to battle. So it does a trajectory action first, the way same way that I perform a trajectory action. It plots a course straight for my ship, and that's its first action. Then, so I get to place an intel marker. Its trajectory now has been placed in a hex where I have a station. So I get to place an intel marker. They now want to, they want to engage me. They know where I am, so they don't need to do a naval search. They will just attempt to engage. They have their active task force, and they have their target task force, and they have air support for a +2 modifier for the adjacent hex. And that's it. So +2 modifier. But before they get to that, they have an intel marker, so I can attempt to interrupt using this interruption table here. There is one task force marker. I roll 2 dice. I get a result of 6, which is a -1 modifier to their result. So they get +2 for their air, -1 is a net +1 modifier to their engage attempt on the 1 to 4 column. I'll roll the red dice for British. Oh, it's a good one. 11. They bring me to battle. Not good. Okay. The poor... Who are we looking at here? Is that... Yep, this is the Lutzow. But I don't know. This is an unidentified task force. So... Oh, okay. Identify the British task force. Oh, okay. When identified task force incurs a result that affects one of our ships, it must be identified. Roll a table and refer to the scenario identified task force table. It will tell you the type of ships. All right, so this is all shown up here in the identified task force. Basically, I roll a die for the British. They roll a 5. They have a cruiser and a light cruiser. Okay. Ouch. I don't want to fight this, basically. I'm here to destroy convoys, not to fight British cruisers. Okay. Let me just double check. Battle behavior. So I need to open this is the battle behavior page again. I need to consult this quite closely because it determines what the British will do during battle. All right, the battle steps. Let's get to that. First of all, no surprise. So gunnery, mutual gunnery. We're at extreme range. And again, I roll at extreme range. We roll attack one ship at a time. I'm going to target the Exeter. See what happens. I pick the 2 lowest, result of 5. The target ship is fast. +1 is a roll of 6, which is going to be a splash. That's my gunnery done. The British do the same. Both of their ships will target the Lutzow. The Exeter. Extreme range picks the 2 lowest results, which is a 4 +0. That's going to be a splash as well. The Galatea, 4 -1 is a 3. That's a splash as well. During the maneuver step, I'm going to stay where I am. The British are going to move closer, bring us into long range with each other. During breakaway, I am going to attempt to break away. As I said, I don't want to sit here and fight. I'm the slowest ships because they're both fast. So my enemy ships are in the near zone, so -1. Enemy ship is faster, -1, and my ship's in the far zone. So it's a net modifier of 0. I need a 9 or more. Oh, it's a 7. So I fail. We return to another round of combat. Gunnery step. I attack the Exeter again. I roll a 5 +1. Again, I'm at long range now, so only 2 dice. 5 +1 is 6. It's a splash. The Exeter attacks me, long range, +0 modifier. I should view smoke 6. It's a miss. The Galatea, a 4 -1 is a 3. It's a miss. I will again attempt to break away with a net 0 modifier. I fail yet again. Okay, next round of combat. And let me think about smoke because I'm outgunned here. Each ship may produce smoke during the maneuver step. So I've got to shoot first, then smoke. Okay, I'm going to target the Exeter again. Long range. Oh, hold on. What are they going to do? They're going to try and move closer. They will try to. When they have the opportunity, they will move into the close zone. Okay. Because they are torpedo capable ships. Can't launch torpedoes at me, but they are torpedo capable. And so am I, but I'm trying to get away from them. All right. So gunnery step. We are now at short range. So we're again rolling 2 dice. If we're at point blank, we'd be rolling 3 dice, picking the highest 2. Again, I want to get the heck out of here. So at short range, we're looking at a short range modifier, which kind of benefits me. I like short range, +2 modifier to my roll, attacking the Exeter of 8, 9, 10. That's a hit. 10 is a hit on the Exeter. It's only got 1 hit, so we sink the Exeter. It will be destroyed in just a moment, but of course gunnery is simultaneous. So they get a chance to shoot back before they sink with a +1 modifier for their short range modifier. Oh, and they roll a 9, 10. They hit me. The Lutzow is sunk as well. I just could not get away in time. I have bad news with the, with the loss of my second ship. That's the loss of my second task force. I don't have any task forces on the map. The Germans have no task forces in place. This ends the scenario. It's disastrous. Okay, VPs. Well, I lost 2 ships, so the German ships sunk. -5 VP, so -10 VP to the British, who are red. 5 VP per ship sunk. They sank 2 of my ships. That's -10. I didn't destroy any British convoys. None of their convoys completed. And casualties. There were no 1 hit, one sunk. So I get back 2 VPs. So this is -8 VPs for me. It's an overwhelming failure. Gross Admiral Raeder is relieved of command. Raeder, incidentally, is still with the reinforcement group in Kiel. No, maybe I should have brought them out further. So some lessons learned, folks, from this scenario. Don't get too close to British warships. They hurt. What else could I have done? Plot my paths early so that the British lose intelligence. Maybe get my reinforcements out earlier as well, so they're not sitting in Kiel, not actually on the board. Yeah, look, what else? Did I miss some weather rolls? I'm trying to think of rules I may have missed. There's maybe a few. Don't treat this as sort of a learning guide. It's more I'm learning as I go, but I feel okay with most of the rules. If you see anything I've missed, please let me know. Folks, that is scenario 1. Look, it was pretty fast playing. That's 40 minutes in. I wouldn't mind trying that again with the lessons learned. Horrific failure. Didn't even get to a fuel check. I needed to get away from the coast. Maybe this is dangerous. Maybe I should target this convoy. So I'm kind of learning. Try not to attack too close to British air bases or ports. Get out of port quickly. Don't hang around areas where the British can counter. Yeah, get out. If I'm over here, if I'm attacking this convoy here, the British are nowhere nearby. If I'm attacking it here, I'm in range of my air base. So a few considerations there. Oh, from what year are we? We're 1939. That's not my air base. So that's another rule error that I made. 1941 doesn't exist for the Germans. That was silly. It's a French air base in 1939. Duh. I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. Anyway, folks, that is scenario 1 of Atlantic Chase. A lot of lessons learned there, a lot of mistakes made. Thanks for watching and take care.